a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. Thank you for joining us on the Rotherham United podcast. Still unbeaten. 3 games in, still unbeaten. Still only 1 goal conceded. I honestly don't know what they're bothered about his championship. It's just easy, isn't it? It just...
Oh, don't say it.
He says when we get beat 4-0 on Saturday. We will cover the Preston game from the defensive resilience, and then we'll look ahead to Saturday when we go down to London and try to come back with some money left, to be honest with you. Danny is with us. Hello, Danny. How's it going?
Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
Michael's with us. This is useless to audio listeners. You got new blinds?
Yeah, man.
Oh, look at him. Somebody's had a good one, haven't they?
Hey, all that overtime. All that overtime's paying off. So I spent it on blinds.
Brilliant. First of all, thank you everybody who joined us for the Twitter space after the Preston game. It was the first one, lasted 20 minutes, so it was fun. We'll be doing another one after the QPR game, 6, 7 o'clock, something like that, Saturday evening, pre the boxing. So if you want to tune boxing, you can get involved with our talk before that happens. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it, Mick?
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right. It was there were plenty of people on. Yeah, all right. Plenty of room for improvement. You know what I mean? Let's not start saying it were excellent, because then obviously we've not got very far to go, have we?
Okay. Yeah. We're going to start today by not talking about the Preston game. We're going to start by celebrating 10 years at New York Stadium. We are recording on the day that is 10 years to the day since we moved in to this wonderful stadium. And it's been an incredible 10 years. What have we had? 4, 5 promotions, 3 relegations, something like that. Something crazy like that.
Madness. Absolute madness.
We had one season, we had 2 seasons where we didn't get relegated or promoted. That were first Steve Evans and Neil Warnock. Every other season has been a promotion or relegation.
We're entertaining, that's
ridiculous.
For sure, isn't it?
Yeah. So what we're going to first 10 minutes, I want your favourite non-obvious New York Stadium moment. So we all know we love the playoffs. We all love Scunthorpe. We all love Preston. We all love the Aldershot game, even the Reading game, which survival was confirmed. I want your non-obvious favourite New York Stadium moments. And Mick's got annoyed at me for asking this question.
I have, yeah.
Use his brain.
I have. And I'll tell you what else. I'll tell you why else I'm annoyed and all. Not only have you made me use my brain, I've also forgot up until this point that you actually asked me to do it.
Hang on.
Oh, wow.
Let me just check when Matt actually sent the text in the group chat to say, let's try and remember this.
We're middle of day.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Here we go. I think we should pick our favourite non-obvious moment in New York years at 10:30 this morning. So, I mean, to be fair, Mick, I'd forgotten until I checked for the group chat about half an hour ago. So I'll let you off personally.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah. Danny, what have you thought of any? Did you put one in the group chat earlier, which you was a fan of?
Yeah.
Did he?
when Will Volks completely finessed Roy Keane when he had his little dabble at being assistant manager at Forest. And he tried to block Will Volks from taking the throw in, and in his run up to take the throw, he just shoved him out at way. And it's like, oh, Roy, you've lost your defensive touch, pal. Because Will Volks just completely shoved him out at way. That was my non-playoff big moment. That makes sense.
I like it. One of my favourites was quite a lot of Steve Evans ones, but we beat Leyton Orient in the season. We ended up beating in the playoffs. We beat him at home. I think they were top at league. And Ravel scored what I think was like a 95th minute winner in front of Cop. And it's just one of them days, you know, when you're trying to move up the league and you play top of the league and you beat top of the league at home. New York, you just went crazy. I like sort of random games in the middle of the season where New York goes crazy for no real reason. Yeah. Mick, have you got anything?
I've got a few, actually. There's quite a few, isn't there? I mean, there's Joe Newell's penalty against Donny.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose that's a bit of an obvious one. I was going for Leif Recklington's goal when he ran into the crowd. That was my. I know it's the obvious one, but it's my standout moment, and I'll never forget that till the day that I die. That moment, that was immense. A couple of people have already put it in the comments. The other obvious one is watching the Derby fans cry when we got back to 3-1. I started crying at 3-1, and it was inevitable where that were going to end up, and that was a fantastic moment as well.
With the whole ground singing camp, because Derby fans were singing "Delete Camp, Campy, what's the score?" at 3-0 down, and then it got brought back to 3-3, and all the Rotherham fans are singing "Campy, Campy, what's the score?"
Yeah,
yeah, that was special.
Banging 4 past Sheffield United were a decent one as well.
4? 3?
Were it 3? I thought it was 4.
3-1.
Yeah, I thought it was 4.
Harry Maguire played from, didn't he? I think.
Yeah.
There was another random great game where we beat Crewe 4-2, and we were losing. I think we were losing 2-1, and it was again that same season we got promoted, beat later on in the playoffs, and Crewe had a penalty. Adam Collins saved the penalty. Like 2 minutes later, Ravel went up the other end and scored, and we ended up winning 4-2. That were a good one. Paul Brock says the Wolves 3-3 game. Mick's still unhappy about that penalty.
Michael Oliver, I've not forgiven Michael Oliver for that. I haven't.
One of my favourite moments it's only one that I found out since through reading different things. And for me, it's good because it's just a good story. Like, we all know how squeaky bum it was getting back into town with the EFL breathing down her necks about Donny, about Don Valley, back in 4 years, or you're expelled and all this crap. And it's hearing the story since that. I think it was the first pre-season game at New York where we were still testing capacity, and it wasn't connected to the national grid, so it was on the backup generators. I just love that story. It's just. That is how close it was for us. They were like, right, we need to get this done. Switch the generator on. Stuffy on, or whoever provides the electricity, we'll do it ourselves.
We could. Ben Pringle's goal against Wednesday in the League Cup. Aaron Frecklington scoring the poxiest when we beat Middlesbrough 1-0, and again under Neil Warnock. Absolutely battered by Middlesbrough, would go on to finish second. We were completely battered by them. And Frecklington pops up in 87th minute with a winner. There's some brilliant ones. Been some amazing moments at New York Stadium. And there will be many more to come.
Yeah, I mean, the disappointing part of it is that we should be blaming YouTube, really, for not allowing us to show some video of it, because there's some great video down the years, some lovely video clips, but unfortunately,
we're missing the most obvious one: the 3-0 against Wednesday.
3-0 against Wednesday. Yeah, good point.
Drone day.
Drone day. The Drone Day massacre.
Yeah. I think if we beat all our local teams, we beat Leeds on telly, and then we beat Leeds late on. When that were again under Neil Warnock. Late on.
Have you ever beaten Barnsley in league football? I know we beat them in a pre-season, but I don't think we've beat them in the league, have we?
I don't think I've ever seen us beat Barnsley. I may be wrong on that. We might as well check that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we haven't beaten them.
I think Barnsley beat us 4-0 at New York when we were absolutely atrocious in 16-17. But I don't think we've beaten them in competitive football anyway. There's always one. We were just about to tick everyone off. There's always one in there.
Yeah, I think Barnsley though played them. To be honest, have we? Obviously, we've up when they're down when they're up, and things like that. So, and obviously, COVID. None of us except Mick have seen us beat Barnsley, Danny. The last time we beat Barnsley in 1982. So, we definitely beat Barnsley at New York Stadium. Some great ones. Sarah Ogden says she had a Hendo at New York Stadium when we beat Leeds. Greg Halford last-minute penalty. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah. Brilliant. So many great moments. Let's talk about the current day, the current season. The 0-0 draw away at Deepdale. Still unbeaten against Preston, I think, the last 3 or 4 games. to say it was a brilliant rear guard defence, Danny, it's probably underplaying it a little bit. Certainly in the second half, we got out of there with a point, didn't we? That's a good way of saying it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Warney put it perfectly. We rode a luck, but at the same time, some of the blocks that we put in against their strikers was fantastic. You sort of see them all lining up and everyone go, "No, not to." It's like Gandalf doing, "You shall not pass," and just throw your body at it. And we've kept it out. I think if there was ever a performance to describe in the trenches football, it was that second half against Preston. Like, we dug in hard and just refused to let them through. Like, whether it was the back three or Victor, we just refused to concede to them. And yeah, rode a luck at times. Probably in the first half, we definitely rode a luck because they were through on goal and dragged it wide. But that second half, very dogged, determined, gritty defending. And it wasn't good for my blood pressure at the time, but now that I've had a little bit of time to calm down, what a second half performance. I absolutely loved it, even though I had to have a sit down on the curb before getting on the bus because my heart rate was all over the place. It was like, how have we managed that? Hang on, I need to sit down.
Yeah. Sean Green says it was a great defensive display. Carl Briggs, the last 20 minutes felt like hours.
Yes, yes, they did.
Yeah, it's one of those funny ones, Mick. It did that last half, the second half, obviously, because that is the last half of every game.
Yeah,
it was tough, it was hard, but when you look back at it now, it weren't, were it? Because we were in the moment. I think it was stressful. But if you look back, and I know they had loads of shots, but there were no goal line saving clearances. There was the stunning save from Victor, which he tipped over the bar, which tipped onto the bar. Sorry. But they never really penetrated us, did they?
no, they didn't. Not really. Not really. And when they did manage to do that, like you said, Victor were there to tidy it up. So it's a great sign for us. It's a great sign that we've gone 95 minutes, whatever it was, without capitulating to what is no doubt going to be a top six side this season, because they are very, very good. There's no question about that. They like to keep the ball. They keep the ball very well, and they're effective with it. Unlike some other teams that we could mention. So yeah, I mean, defensively was just an absolutely outstanding performance. Outstanding. Maybe Ben's criticism in the post-match after Reading stung a little bit, and they've given him something to think about. But you look at it, and that defensive unit was at times with 11 men. And it, just brilliant, absolutely fantastic to see.
Yeah. We're going to talk about some individual praise because we love giving individual praise out, and we love giving individual praise out to Victor, Danny. Powermad UK says that the Viking was like Superman; he could even stop bullets on the day. Paul Brook says yes, Victor saving that shot onto the crossbar. It was also a great defensive display. We know how good Victor is. And I suppose he's young. It was his 50th appearance for the Royal United. He took the yellow card, as we said he should, in the pre-match show. But he is still young, and there's always a worry that because he's so inexperienced, that feels like the wrong word, that we're going to get done by a poxy shot that comes off post or whatever. And it just looks more assured. And I don't know why, but I think he looks more assured this season so far than he did last season. It looks bigger, it looks stronger. I don't know. I might be misreading it, but it looks better this season already.
I think it's because he had the one season in the Championship being backup keeper to Jamal Blackman, who's now at Exeter. So I'll make your own minds up on that one. But yeah, and then he was. Can you have like two first choice keepers? Because we seem to have that last season. But this season, he's definitely, at least until he gets some sort of injury, fingers crossed he doesn't, but he does seem to be the starting keeper this season, and he's wearing that as sort of like a badge of honour that he's first choice and he's up to the challenge of it. But I think the three that sit in front of him this season give him even more confidence because he's got the experience in front of him. So he knows, right, they're probably not going to make silly mistakes. So I can just watch the ball, and if they get through, then I can make the save, which is exactly what he did when he tipped onto the crossbar. He read the game. They sort of beat the little bit of a defensive pack that was there and got the shot away, and he still saved it. And like the comment said, it was like Superman. He flew and got his hand on that.
He didn't get his hand on it.
He did. Right. I know we're a bit critical of Mr. Langford, but if he's given the corner and there's no deflection, he has to have got a little bit of something on it just to say he got at least one decision right, because he definitely got the time wasting yellow card wrong. So you know,
I'm only winding you up.
I know. but yeah,
and as any good keeper would do, he would probably claim that he touched it anyway. Even if he didn't touch it, I would be claiming I saved it if I were a keeper. I'd take the corner. I saved it. Let's do save.
Yeah. But there was one in the first half as well where he rushed out to the player and completely covered the goal. Because all right, it were a poor shot from Parrott, but Victor made himself big, and Victor's not a big guy. You know, he's not 6'7". But he made himself big and more or less covered the goal. So Parrott's gone for between his legs, but he's got down quick enough and stopped it and blocked it, which is great to see in a young goalkeeper, because sometimes they don't have that level of confidence. They'd stay at home, but Victor's come out and blocked the shot off, which again is another reason why we've drawn. It's not just defensive resilience, it's Victor in goal and pulling off some absolute worldies at times.
Yeah. 100%. I think he's got bigger this season. I think he's bulked up. I don't know whether it's the difference in the goalkeeping shirts and how they fit, but he looks bigger this season. And it looks like he spent the close season. We were already quite strong. We were already good enough, if you know what I mean. But he does look bigger and stronger this season.
So those Swedish meatballs in post-season.
Mick,
well,
anything to add on that?
Yeah, it was excellent, wasn't it? But it's what we come to expect from Victor. You know, he is. Whilst he's a clearly a fully paid up member at Goalkeepers Union, he doesn't seem. I'm not going to say that actually. I'm going to stop before I start on that one about making mistakes. So we'll quit that and let's move on.
Yeah, just like
brilliant, mate. Absolutely top notch.
Yeah, it was big time. Love it. Moving further forward, J Boy says Humphries and Hall looked so good so far, both class. I mean, pick either one of them you want to talk about, Danny, because they were both superb. Humphries continuing, Hall played the Richard Wood role, didn't he? And he did a very, very good job at it.
Yeah. I've seen a few people say on Twitter that this is one of the strongest looking defences that we've had in a fair few seasons in the Championship, and they almost seem very interchangeable with each other. You know, we've seen Peltier playing in Humphrey's position on the left-hand side. We've played Humphrey play on the right. We've seen Hall play on the right. We've seen Wood and Hall in the middle. Then we've got McCart on the left-hand side. So it's very interchangeable. It's almost like... it's going to be a very strange sounding example, but it's almost like the factory model cars where all the parts are interchangeable, but they all work as well as each other. And that seems to be our defence this season. I mean, I have to feel for Hakeem Adofin coming back into the training today. I can't see where he's going to fit in, bless him. I really can't, unless he wants to try and work on himself and work really hard with this defence and learn from them. I can't see where he's going to fit in. Because he's good on his day as well. But unfortunately, that back line is so interchangeable with each other and so cohesive. I just can't see where anybody else would come into it. And do you remember we were all crying about not having enough defensive options in pre-season? That's gone straight out the window, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. You just look at the people we're bringing in. I mean, you compare it to last time in the Championship, we were bringing in Billy Jones and Joe Matica, the centre-back, who we all know he's not really a centre-back. We're now bringing Lee Peltier, who's got about 1,000 years' worth of experience. Grant Hall, who's got buckets of experience. Jamie McCart, who's quite an exciting young player coming through, who hasn't made an appearance yet. There's such a difference in the quality of squad compared to 2 years ago, mate. It is genuinely ridiculous, the difference.
Yeah. So, absolutely. I mean, You go back to last season. I was and always have been a big fan of Icky. I thought he was an excellent player, and I thought he was developing into a fantastic centre back. But I saw a tweet that somebody said we'd traded in a Fiat 500 for a Rolls Royce between him and Cameron Humphreys, and that's absolutely right. It's bang on. It's absolutely on the money. And then if you add into that a couple of Bentleys in Hall and Peltier, it's like, we're moving up in the world in that respect. I said it in the last podcast, and I say it again, that the recruitment has been absolutely on point all for this close season. I know we've lost a few. I accept that. That's always going to happen. But that back three, a back three that's not played together for us before, was just immense, absolutely immense. You know, they've brought out one of the best defensive performances, away defensive performance from a Rotherham United side in years. You know, it's essentially the first time that the three of them have played together. It's absolute madness, but it just shows you what experience and quality they've got there. What I would say is I think Grant Hall is far better in that central role than he is on the right. He's far more involved in the game, and I think he seems to me to be the type of player who wants to be involved. You know, and if he's out on the right hand side or left hand side of a three, he's not quite as involved, is he? But he marshalled that defence expertly. And sorry, I know I'm going on, but Lee Peltier I thought was brilliant, just as good as the other two for me. Assured, calm, just did what he needed to do and did it really, really well. Right back three, that man, and that's without Richard Wood in it. Wow,
I know. Yeah,
that's mad.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've got a comment from somewhere here. Where's it gone? Something about Icky. Somebody put the comments. I can't find it now. Here we go. I don't feel the anxiety when Humphreys or Halls go for the ball when Hickey did. I know that comes from experience. Hickey made a few mistakes for us. When Humphreys on the ball, you don't think he's going to give it away. Obviously, he's going to at times, but I don't feel like he's going to put us in a really bad position where Hickey did that a few times in the Championship. You just feel safe, and again, that might be because we haven't had the experience of him making a mistake yet. That might be it. But it doesn't feel like that, does it? It feels like they're better from these games. Just a brief stat: 2 clean sheets out of 3 games. Victor's already kept half as many clean sheets this season than he did in the Championship last time.
Wow!
And he played basically half the season then.
That's madness,
isn't it?
Yeah.
One goal conceded in 3 games, Danny. And I know, well, we'll come on to what happened with Reading in a minute. I know we played Swansea who struggle for goals, but they have scored goals since.
Mate, they scored 4 against Millwall.
No, we might come on to that.
All right, sorry.
Reading, who again, everybody tells me that Reading are rubbish, but this banged 3 past Blackburn the other night, and we all know Preston's problems, but they like a shot. That's impressive that there's only 1 goal conceded. That is a massive step up from 2 seasons ago. Ridiculously huge step up for me. Yeah,
it is. And we've got best goal difference in league so far. Like, how on earth that happened? But yeah, the only goal we've conceded has been an absolute worldie from Darling against Swansea, which I don't think if you had 3 goalkeepers, they'd have saved it. But with Reading as well, putting 4 past them in the first half, then they've gone on to beat Blackburn 3-0. It just goes to show that in this league, anybody can beat anybody. You know, you could be in the best form, but still get absolutely knocked because you've not lined up correctly or you've got a tactic wrong or whatever. So for us to get our opening 3 games right, in quotation marks, to get that right and only concede once, we've done very, very well. Tiny put a message to me the other day saying we are, I think, a point and 4 places better off than last time in the Championship. So, you know, it's just moving up ever so steadily, and hopefully it continues and we don't hit a brick wall. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I think the difference being this time, Danny, is that the performances, like I keep saying, it's not necessarily the results and being unbeaten, it's the performances that we've been putting in that are streets ahead. of less time.
Well, you look Wickham 2 years ago. I know it's Wickham, but that first game at season against Wickham, we struggled. That first half against Wickham 2 years ago, we almost got battered, didn't we? And that's against Wickham in first 45 minutes. We haven't had that yet, have we?
Not yet. Well,
Not yet.
second half at Preston.
But it's Preston, not Wickham.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're trying not to get carried away. Cal Briggs says we only concede screamers, which I think is true.
Absolutely.
Let's move further forward because the first half, Danny, I thought we did all right. I thought from 1 to 11, I thought we played well. We had chances. Their keepers pulled off a brilliant save from Connor Washington's sort of first time shot, which was brilliant. That he almost scored again when Barlas has put through that wonderful ball. There was a lot of chance in the first half. Those chances stopped in the second half. So again, you're probably not going to be able to answer this, but from an attacking point of view, what was the change? Why do you think those chances stopped being created? Was it us or was it them? Sorry, mate.
I'm trying to think back now. I've slept since then. In the first half, we had the service from Barlasser. I mean, he played a couple very good through balls to Washington, like you say. One was a through ball on the right-hand side. You can see I'm trying to jog memory with this. One was through to the right-hand side, and Washington's just dragged it wide. And I honestly thought that goal were in. I thought it was. The way he did it, it's like, go on. Oh, shame. And then the other one, he gets a shot away quite quickly from the left-hand side. But I think the second half, probably Preston just thought, right, their delivery is going to Washington from Barlas. If we stop that and close down midfield a bit quicker, so they've got less time on the ball, then they'll stop that service. And that's probably where it came from, because I noticed they didn't give us much time on the ball in the second half and just kept hitting us, I saw a comment earlier on that when Washington went off and before Kelly came on, it was like the Alamo. I think it was more like Rourke's Drift against the Zulus, to be fair. But yeah, I think as soon as we took Washington off, we didn't. I mean, I know Chio moved into the striker position, but we didn't really have the service that he needed. And then it sort of came back a little bit when Kelly came on. But I think it was more down to Preston cottoning on to what we were doing more than us not trying to play our game, if that makes sense. Because I noticed that Barlasser played more balls around the midfield rather than through to Washington in the second half. But we still created a very good chance in the second half that ideally Wilesy should be finishing. Because I've seen how he finishes in training. He should be finishing that. But unfortunately, he's missed it. And a lot of fans around where I was were saying that were our chance to win the game. We need to hang on there. But Rotherham United only play hoofball. We only play hoofball. We don't create chances through passing neatly round a back line and getting a shot away. Oh, wait, that's exactly what we did for Wows's chance.
Yeah.
I think
it's really nice stuff. Go on, mate.
I think one of the issues was once Connor Washington went off, I think Chio showed his inexperience in that position because he wasn't there to receive any of those passes from Dan Barlasser. He was kind of dropping deep or dropping out wide and not playing the role of striker. And that's just inexperience. It's obviously not been his usual position. I was quite critical of him on that Twitter space after the match, saying I felt that he kind of drifted out of the game a little bit. But looking back, I think it's probably just more experience. We can't be expecting him to play the lone striker role or holding the ball. That's not his game, and he's not experienced at that. You know what I mean? But as I think it has been mentioned in the comments a couple of times, when Georgie Kelly came on, that did change a little bit. But we just struggled so much to hang on to the ball. We just kept giving it away quite cheaply, and that's why we invited the pressure on.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. You look at that midfield. Barlasser played obviously a lot of times in the Championship last time. Wilesy, I don't think played that many times in the centre of midfield last time in the Championship. Rathbone's making his bowing Championship football, who did his battling job very well, I thought, when he came on. But he looked after the ball as well as anybody else in the second half, which weren't very good. Yeah, I agree. We've got a problem up front. It's not a massive problem, but we do have a problem at times of holding it up. But that's hopefully what Tom Eaves will bring in a little bit of when he brings his physicality in the game. That's what he can do. That's what Georgie Kelly can do.
Yeah.
But Preston are clearly a good team. Let's get it right. Preston are clearly a decent team. We weren't playing Wycombe, were we? That's important to point out.
They will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, Preston. No question about it. Assuming that they maintain that sort of level of performance.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Talk about some of the players. John Hensby says Conor Washington is such an intelligent footballer. His runs are fantastic, always on side, and his angles that confuse the defenders. A top player. Yeah, I completely agree. Danny, he's obviously got to work in his finishing, obviously, like every striker has to. So I suppose we talked about this in the last episode, but I've got such love for Washington already. He's so intelligent with his runs. Yeah,
he is. And I've said this before, he's sort of picked up where he left off with Charlton, like staying on the last man and latching onto the ball and creating a chance. I think he did that for his goal against Reading, and he nearly did it against Preston as well. And I think if we play into that style, which Barlas is currently doing, it will score a few for us this season. It's starting to rub off on Kelly a little bit as well. I've noticed he's on the last man more than he was in pre-season. And I think we can only really get better with Tom Eaves now in contention for at least a substitute's berth. So we can only really get better, which is fantastic because we've been playing good already.
Yeah, it is. The thing is with defenders, the thing that probably frightens defenders more than anything from being an observer is pace and being able to time that run. If you're a big man, although that is very difficult to deal with, there are ways to deal with big men in different ways that you can deal with it. You can't deal with pace, no matter how good you, unless you are as quick as the other man. It's just so difficult to deal with that pace and that run. And that's clearly what we're trying to do this season with Chio, with Washington. Kelly's not slow, obviously. Very positive. It's worth noting that it was Dan Barlas' 150th league appearance of his career and his 125th for Rotherham United, which seems like quite a lot already. Yeah. I want to mention Cohen Bramall, Mick, because I thought in the first half we saw what he can do going forward. And to be fair to him, in the second half, I thought we saw what he could do defensively. I thought it was a really good combined 90 minutes for Cohen Bramall. Not perfect, obviously, but I was really, really happy with how he played in both first and second half.
Yeah, I don't think you can have any complaints, really. I know Ronnie was a little bit critical of him in the commentary on at Port Vale of his defensive abilities. And you can clearly see that he just wants to get forward, doesn't he? But I think he probably put paid to a little bit of that criticism on Tuesday night, particularly in the second half. He's up for the fight, isn't he? But going forward is where his strength lies. If he can just get that final ball into the box sorted, then he's going to be such a danger in this division. Such a danger. Yeah,
he is. And I talked to me about the who comes in at centre back 2 years ago when we had Joe Mattock and Billy Jones coming in at centre back. That applies to left wing back. 2 years ago, we had Billy Jones coming at left wing back, and Joe Mattock was the left back coming at left wing back. We've got Cohen Bramall, we've got Shane Ferguson, who's probably the best of the two, and Cohen Bramall who comes in to replace him when needs be. It's just an upgrade, isn't it?
It is. It's an upgrade all over the pitch, mate. Everywhere you look, we've got an upgrade. Madness, absolute madness.
Paul Brock says mixed mate Wes looked pretty tired in the second half, and probably why he got subbed. We still love him though. Yes, we do. That leads us on. Let's talk about this now. This leads us on to what will hopefully be a Friday afternoon signing. We don't know that Paul Warner's talked about a man being almost through the door. We've heard that 4 or 5 times this summer, which hasn't worked out. This time it appears to be, the Twitter rumours appear to be Brooke Norton-Cuffy, who is an 18-year-old kid from Arsenal. He's got pedigree already, though. He played half a season at Lincoln last year. He won the European Championships with England's under-19s in the summer as well.
Wow.
Was part of that squad. There is a YouTube video somebody's done of his sort of highlights from last season, 8 or 9 minute video, which I'll probably share after we've done here. He looks very exciting. He's strong. He's quite quick. He's good going forward. He can take a player on. Easy to get excited over a YouTube video, Mick. I know I'm fully aware that they're not the best things to look at when looking at a player. But if he's an 18-year-old kid who's already got half a season who's better in League One, and Arsenal fancy him, because he has just signed a new contract in the last 2 weeks at Arsenal. It's good that Arsenal trust us, number one, because they've got some good players right in the future. And this kid could be an exciting player. And he's what we need. He's a right wing back, which is what we're almost desperate for.
100%. Yes, and yes. Assuming that we can get it through door, that's the main thing. As long as we haven't got Warney's announced it already, and we haven't announced it, but so Pigs will be sniffing round, Barnsley will be sniffing round, Wigan will be sniffing round. So we need to make sure that it's done and dusted before we announce anything. But yeah, he looks a prospect. He looks a prospect. You don't get a first team contract at Arsenal if you're a donkey, do you? Particularly at that age. So yeah, great. Bring him in. Get some experience, and let's see how we go with it.
Yeah, and what was interesting, Dan, if you listen to Paul Warne's interview, again, we're assuming this is the guy, which we think it is. Paul Warne was saying that the club, as in Arsenal, want him to come to us, bearing in mind there's interest from other clubs. That's quite an endorsement, really, because Arsenal's, and you can talk about their first team a lot, but their youth setup is one of the best in the country. For them to want to give us one of their players and to trust us is quite a high sign, really. I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've got a good relationship with Arsenal at the minute, which is a shame we're not on the All or Nothing series on Amazon that they've done, but we can hope for in future. But yeah, I mean, we've got a good pedigree with Arsenal players. I mean, we had was Ozzy Tutu well known from Arsenal to us?
It was,
yeah. It was, yeah.
Yeah, and then we've taken Talaji Bowler off him and developed him a fair bit. And we've also got Akima Doffin, who was on Arsenal's books before going to Scotland. So yeah, we've got a good pedigree with Arsenal players, and I don't know, they might have the same agent for all we know.
True.
So if the agent's seen how they've progressed at Rotherham, and then they've got Rotherham coming in for another one of their clients at Arsenal, they'll just gone, "Hey, Rotherham want another one. He'll do well there." Yeah. And then I don't think it'll be Mikel Arteta who handles the transfers. I think it'll be their sporting director. But again, if he's seen us and how we developed Ozzy Tutu on loan, it's probably gone, they'll probably do the exact same, but a league higher. So that'll benefit us and benefit the player. So let's get it done, because it does seem to have happened very quickly. We missed out on Ashley Fletcher, and then Warney sort of switched his tone to a wing back. I know it's probably been in the works ever since they found out Kyoso was injured, but it seems to have switched focus very quickly, and now we want the wing back. We found the wing back. But it sounds like we've got the wing back as well. But I'm quite excited to see what he's all about. And he comes with a very good pedigree of scoring his first senior goal against Sheffield Wednesday, which is fantastic.
Oh, what a lad.
It's just a thing of beauty.
I know.
This job's made for him. It's made for him.
You look at the side 2-2. I know that he's gone away, but he's gone to Bochum or whatever in the Birmingham second division. We've probably made Arsenal some money. Now, it's not only £1 million, but if it's made them £500,000, £750,000, whatever, that's us because of how well Ozzy did at our place. That's what I assume that's part of their thought process. And it's another person with a double-barreled surname as well, which is interesting. Is it interesting? I'm not sure it is, actually. It's just
it's not.
It's noteworthy.
No, it's not. It's not even noteworthy, mate. But
no, fair enough.
Sorry, I don't want to bust your bubble, but
it's a fact. It's a fact. There you go.
There you go. It's a fact.
Still no word on any news on strikers. Paul Warne seems quite downbeat on the prospect of a striker coming in, but we all know how the transfer market works, especially this late on in the window. Somebody we might have earmarked earlier on that wasn't available might become available. We might sell somebody for a couple of million and have the option to bring somebody else in. it's a fast moving market at this stage. So although nothing's happening yet and nothing's confirmed yet, keep your eyes peeled on the striker
I have
situation.
noticed. I have seen on Twitter today, on social media today, that the name that we are aware of has been mentioned actually on social media today. So I think we could probably mention it on here now. The fact that
Okay. That's
well,
a green light.
it's out there. It's out there in the
Mick said
public
it.
domain now, isn't it? So there has been talk of Robert Snodgrass coming in as well, which for me would be an unbelievable signing. I accept he's getting on in terms of age, but again, another very, very experienced player and experienced at a higher level. So how much mileage there is in that, who knows? It may well just be another Twitter rumor, but I suspect there is some truth in it somewhere along the line. So I like the sound of that. I really do.
I'd love Robert Snodgrass.
Yeah.
But he's got to fit into the system, man. He's got to fit. He's got to come in right. If we bring him in, how is Scott High going to get game time? And he's on loan from somewhere else. I know he's left-footed. Could maybe in his pomp he could have played. He could have filled it left wing back. Maybe it is now. That's not an option. We don't play left midfielder, so you couldn't farm him out wide. I'd love him at this club, to be honest with you, because his pedigree is amazing. He's got that experience. He's got his left foot. He's a ridiculous left foot set piece as well. You've got to set another set piece option. There's lots of reason to say yes, but there's also how would he get in? And if he comes in, has Rathbone not played? Does Barnes not play?
Yeah.
Danny, weigh in if you want.
I mean, like you said, I can see why we want to bring him, why we'd want to at least explore it. But then, do we really need him? You know, because we've got quite a firm midfield anyway. We've got, we've got Barlasser sitting ever so slightly deeper as the quarterback, and we've got Lindsay or Rathbone on the right side, and then we've got Wiles or High on the left side, but High being more interchangeable. I mean, yes, Snodgrass does come with quite a big pedigree, as we've said, and he would add a lot of experience, especially at championship level, to that midfield. However, if we were to bring him in, I could see a couple of people being a bit put out by us bringing another midfielder in when we've got 5 midfielders already. So
Does that include Odoffin as well?
Yeah, Odoffin as well. So I don't know. I think we'd probably explore Snodgrass more if we know someone was certain to leave. For example, you know, Burnley come in with a stupid offer for Wiles, or Blackpool up their offer for Barlasser to a more acceptable amount.
That's not going to happen, is it?
Exactly. I can't see that happening. And we've already said that we don't want to lose our crucial players. So every time someone's come in, we've gone, unless you give stupid money, it's no. We've already said that to Burnley. I imagine we've said that to Blackpool if they are the ones that are interested in Barlasser, because it's not confirmed. But yeah, I can see why the agent wants to offer Snodgrass to us, because I believe it's his agent that's offered him to us. But I can see the dilemma that will be going on in Warney's head. Like, yeah, he's good, but where would he fit? You know, hard to be a football manager.
It's just about that strength in depth, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's the question. If Wiles gets injured tomorrow, how will we set? There's arguments for and against.
Yeah, of course there is.
Quite a lot.
Just want to throw in there. I thought I'd throw it in.
Yeah, I'd be very happy and excited if you came in. But we will see on that one. It's worth mentioning again, this was the best start to a season since still the 2002-2003 season. We've equalled that season. That season went about 7 or 8 games unbeaten at the start of the season. It would take some doing to beat that start, to be honest with you. But who knows? Who knows with this lot? We just don't know what's going to happen and how it's going to play out. Any other topics, talking points from the Preston game or transfer rumours we've picked up before we move ahead and look ahead to London?
No, nothing. Nothing from me.
I didn't think so either. I like that one. When we're on the grid. Oh, there's one thing to mention, Mick. You got the prediction correct.
Oh yeah, I did. That's 2 out of 3
Not bad, is it?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, not
Is that the Yorkshire version of Meatloaf song? 2 out of 3 out, it's not bad.
How many 11 out of 11s have you got for team lineup though?
Well, let me just count them up. None.
I've got to try on Tuesday, to be honest with you. So that's gone well.
I got 10 out fuming.
Right, so now
9.
what we're going to do now is the Scout Report returns. So we are going to have the jingle, as we all enjoy. And then we're going to be joined by a QPR fan on the other side, find out a bit more about their season so far and what to expect from them. Thank you. Hello, Ben from the W12 podcast. How are you doing, Ben?
Hello.
Hello, how are we doing, boys? We all right?
Yeah, not bad. Thank you very much.
All good, mate.
So,
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, mate. Can you hear us?
Yes, yeah.
Perfect.
Good. Check.
How has your season started? I know Tuesday night didn't go well against Blackpool, which must be a bit of a blow. How's it gone overall?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, really. And at the start of the season, we all predicted that the season could go either way. Very much on the fence. We could be very much be in the bottom half, or we could be challenging the top 6. No one's really too sure what's going to happen with QPR this season. We are. I'm still not now, even 4 games in. We've got a few injuries floating around, which is not great. We're still a bit light up top. We've only just got brought in a couple of fullbacks as well. We've got Ethan Laird from Manchester United last week, so he played Tuesday, but he's still not fully fit. So I think it's right to say that the cogs are turning, but they're not. They're not fully there yet. So you may get a QPR on Saturday that's not fully at full pace. From a season perspective, we lost Tuesday, which was frustrating because Blackpool weren't too bad, but they literally got their goal and then second half they camped. They put 5 at the back and literally full on just camped the whole second half. And we just couldn't break it down, which was frustrating. Pretty even first half, really. But we've got a couple of injuries that come back on Saturday. With Chrissy Willock is back, unfortunately for you guys. He's a great player. Every time he plays, we win and he scores. But he just can't get fully fit. And he keeps playing a couple of games injured, but he's back Saturday. And I don't know if he'll start. I think he will, but I'm not sure. But if he is, that'll be massive. Bill's interview today said that there's going to be a few changes as well. So I expect a few changes here and there. We'll probably go 4-3-3. With obviously we've got 2 fullbacks in Pale, who's Dutch. A Dutch lad we got from PSV, who's supposed to be quite good. Again, we've not fully seen him at full pace yet. We'll have Rob Dickey and Jimmy Dunn centre backs, so pretty nifty centre halves. We'll have Stefan Johansson, Ilias Chair, and probably Sam Field as your 3 in midfield. Up tops might be where it changes. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tyler Roberts, who again hasn't been fit. We brought him in from Leeds on loan, and he's struggled to get fit, but he's played in the last 2 games off the bench, so I suspect he'll start with probably Chris Willock or Ilias Chair moving forward. And we've got a young lad, I don't know if anyone watched the game on Tuesday, you probably didn't, you probably watched on your own, but we've got a young lad called Sinclair Armstrong. He's 18, 19, we've had interest from City and Liverpool and all the big boys, so it's inevitable that he's probably going to leave at some point, but but he's lightning quick, and the fans are calling for him to start, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him start on one of the left or right hand side. But he looks really exciting. But yeah, it should be a good game.
Yeah, it should. Talk about Michael Beale, because I don't know anything about him. I know he's your manager, obviously.
Okay.
He's not got a history, really. He's not. Has he been a manager before, or is he just came from somewhere else?
No, he's come from Aston Villa, so he was Gerrard's number 2. Aston Villa, apparently the brains. That's the rumor going around.
I've heard that today. I've been told that today. I work with a Villa fan, and he said that he was the brains behind Gerrard's management. So they might be going downhill, Villa.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what they say, and look, it's never an easy transition from number 2 to manager, is it? And a lot of more people have failed than probably been succeeded. So we just don't know. We don't know what to expect. He's tactically seems like he knows what he's talking about and what he's doing, and he understands players. And it's just whether that man management element, which is always difficult. I imagine Steve Gerrard's great at Villa, that whether he can get that sorted and go in this year, but it's really early days, really. So it's looking okay. I'm not saying it's not looking great, but again, like I said, we could have a great season, or he could be gone by October.
Yeah. I would say you've got a style player yet. No, again, he's only new. He's only just come in. I know you see 4-3-3 is where you go. Is there a style of player yet, or is it still too early to say?
No, yeah. So he's tried to implement fullbacks. I don't know where you guys are in your fullbacks and how high or low they play, but we're trying to push them on, and it's kind of a good thing when we're away from home. It works really well already, but when we're at home, it's a bit of a smaller pitch, and it doesn't feel like it's working as it should do, or how I guess he'd want it to do. We've only just got the 2 fullbacks in again, so that doesn't help. So, and we play. We're going to probably have a lot of the ball, I suspect, on Saturday, and I'm not too sure how Rotherham have started this season, how you look to play, but I don't know whether you'll let us have it and you'll just try and pick it off us and try and hit us on the counter, or do you guys like to play around as well at the moment?
Bit pragmatic, really. We can play with the ball. Against Reading, we took a fair amount of the ball. Until we went 4-0 up, we had quite a lot of the ball. Then we just let the game go. I think we can do both. That's our benefit at the minute, is we can do a bit of both. We've got pace up top, is where we're threatening at the minute, really.
You guys have started really well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
Three unbeaten,
what's that
5
down
points.
to? Yeah, good.
I think it's down to towards pressing teams when they knock it round the back a little bit. That's what we did with Reading, and then sort of caught them out and played like over them and round them. Preston, I think we just dug in and held out really, and Swansea was just same thing, but they scored an absolute worldie and drew with us. So I think if you knock it round the back and allow us to press you, it could be a very interesting game. But if you can exploit little holes, if you like, then it could turn into more of a feisty game, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, our star players, Ilias Chair and Chris Willett, they're our 2 main guys. Probably 2 of the best number 10s in the league. But we can't both fit at the same time. The past 6 days, they've started, one got injured, and we can't get both on the pitch. They both played on the pitch on Middlesbrough, and that's our only win, and they were both brilliant. So if we get them both on, we're cooking. But they're our 2 best players for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting. It gives us hope that you obviously lost to Blackpool, but like I said, we beat Borough. Borough is a good result. So it's early days. It sees this is what it's all about, Championship as well. Before we let you go, Ben, give us a score prediction. We just talked about how difficult it is to predict this game. But how do you think it's going to go?
Well, mate, it could be. I went to Rotherham when you were in the league last couple of seasons ago. You beat us right at the end. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I predicted 4-0 that game. So I think the lads will want a reaction, and I think that we'll change it around a bit, and I think Willock will come in. So I think we will win 2-0, 2-1. But I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't happen and we ended up drawing or losing. So
yeah. I think we'd all take a point again. So it's an away game in Championship. Pick up a point away on road for it is a good result for us.
That's it. Yeah. Draw away, win your home games. You're on the right path there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. Mick, Danny, is that what you want to ask Ben before we let him go?
How long do you think your chairman, owners would give the manager if it's not going well?
Well, it's a good question. Warburton went, didn't he? And the fans loved Warburton. He could have walked on water in February because we were third in the league. We were winning every game. We were brilliant. And then just all the wheels fell off. And Les Ferdinand and the board sort of got the brunt of it because we didn't buy in January and, stuff like that. Stuff was happening behind the scenes. So I think this is Les's appointment. I think this is their appointment. So if it doesn't go right, fans will turn, but they probably won't turn on the manager as quickly as they will on the board. So he might get a bit more time. But with the squad we've got, we certainly shouldn't be anywhere near the relegation zone. So if we start getting down there, then it could end up pretty quickly. So it depends how we're doing and how we're playing, mate. But probably sort of October, November time.
See where you are.
See where we are. Yeah.
I think the World Cup's a good point for every club this year.
Yeah.
The World Cup break is going to be very important, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it also means we played a lot of games up until then. So
True.
A lot of injuries happen, and that benefits some other clubs and others. It depends on who you get injured, obviously. Yeah. I thought Luton and Huddersfield they sort of did well last season because they literally had the same 11 every week, pretty much. So that's a massive benefit, isn't it? That's Blackburn that were up there, got all the injuries, and then we started falling down. Probably other reasons as well. But
for anybody that wants to get the QPR view, where can they find the W12 podcast to listen to you guys if they fancy it pre-game?
Yeah, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, just W12 podcast. There's not another one about, so just type us in. We'll be there. We're doing our podcast tomorrow. So give us a listen. Good luck for Saturday as well, boys. Well, not good luck, but are you
Yeah, I'll be going.
You go, mate. All right. Well, I'm good. I'm going to go to London.
I suppose before you go,
prices.
I'm going to ask about ticket prices. What's with ticket prices? Is that just your prices or?
I think it's London, isn't it? It's London prices. I mean, we've always been like. I can only apologise for the view as well. Yeah, the fans bring up every fans forum. It's a challenge but the reality is the club need to make money and.
The view's fine from that away end. It's just if you're taller than 3'6", you can't sit down. There's no gap between seats.
Yeah, we've just built some safe standing. You'll notice when you're there or when you watch the game on the other end. So that's where I'll be sitting moving forward because I need some more room.
Perfect. Well, thank you for doing this, Ben. Good luck for the rest of the season. Obviously, luck for Saturday. And cheers for doing this, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries, mate.
Yes,
have a good evening, lads. Cheers.
And you. Cheers, Ben.
Mate.
See ya.
Always good to have a Ben on the show, isn't it? We're missing Ben. So we get a different Ben on. Interesting. Always like doing those. Ref watch. Where are we? Referee is Andy Woolmer. He is a championship referee, has been a championship referee for a long time, which gives you probably a bit more information than needed. He last refereed us, to be fair to him, when we played Accrington at home in February and won 1-0. And he got just about, I know Dan disagrees with the Richard Wood red card, but he got most of the stuff right and dealt with a pretty tough situation as well as he could as well. So that's where it comes from a Rotherham point of view. The caveat to that is I don't know if anybody's watched the Blackpool Swansea highlights from the weekend when Blackpool were given a ridiculously soft. It was a dive. Blackpool player dived, and Andy Woolmer decided to give a penalty to Blackpool for said dive. So that is a slight issue. I don't know. I'm not a fan, to be honest with you. He's looking at his record, he's not done anything bad for us in the past. He's just been around for too long for my liking in terms of championship. If he was actually good at his job, he'd be in Premier League by now, wouldn't he?
You would have thought so, wouldn't you? Depends what he wants out of life, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think he's good enough, but we'll see. Anything to comment on Oliver Langford from the other night? Where we didn't mention the referees.
I don't think he got the memo about letting the game flow, and no. He did blow up quite a lot. I get the impression he's the kind of I'm going to do it my way type of ref. He didn't have a particularly bad game. I think the booking of Victor was out of order. I think the crowd got them booked because immediately after that, their goalkeeper were doing exactly the same thing and didn't even get spoken to. So it is what it is. Nothing to really complain about. He had a reasonably anonymous game, didn't he? To be fair, which I suppose is what you want from a referee ultimately.
Yeah, apparently because he gave him a lot of free kicks. Yeah, he just gave a lot of free kicks in general. They had the ball, I suppose. That's maybe why. Yeah, why it looks sort of feels like that. Alfie, our UFC 19 said he saw Danny at the game. He says we've got a defence like prime AC Milan.
That is ambitious.
Yeah, take that. Our record against QPR is pretty poor. Only 2 victories ever at QPR. Have they always played Loftus Road, Mick? Have they moved
as far as I remember, yeah. I mean, when you've been to ground, you've seen how old it is.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
so 2 wins. One was in 1951. The other was in 2019 when Semi Ajayi scored that last-minute winner, which was a great moment. But we pushed him all the way. We played him 6 months ago, just over 6 months ago, and pushed them all the way to a penalty shootout and the FA Cup third round. So we've got recent history of pushing them. Let's talk about how we think we're going to set up, Danny. What change would you make? Is there any change? He talked about pace out wide, which does scare me a bit. With only Humphries in there, that's got a bit of pace from the defensive 3. So, what would you like to see?
I think if they've got pace out wide, it may be a case of being a little bit more defensively compact in the first half, and then seeing if we can do anything in the second half. So probably Ferguson and Harding in there. Probably bring Woody back into it as more of your defensive rock, if you like. And then, like I said, probably have Humphries and maybe Hall with Harding on that right-hand side, because Harding's quite quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I mean, even though Ferguson's experienced, he's still quite quick. I don't think he can play a full 90 at full pelt. So that could solve that issue. Midfield sort of speaks for itself again, I think.
Well, would Lindsay or Rathbun is the question.
For me personally, I would bring Rathbun on in the second half and let him terrorise him and just run all over him and terrorise him. Same with Kelly in the second half as well, because he runs after everything as well. I don't know. Saturday could be a case of just buying a time. Holding out a little bit like we did against Preston, hopefully without as much intensity and blood pressure raising. But yeah, I think that might be how we line up. Maybe try and nick a goal early on as well. Could be an option, but I could see us probably just buying a time, maybe trying to catch him on the counter potentially.
Yeah, because we have got option, Mick. You look at Washington and Chio. We have got an option to sit deep and spring the counter attack with that pace. We haven't just got one player who's quick. We've got those, like Danny mentioned, Ferg, if he plays, is not slow. Wiles is quick. We have got the option to do that, and that's not just an option; that's a valid option to just soak up pressure and counter attack.
Yeah, I mean they might have pace out wide. We've got pace just about everywhere, all around the pitch. Yeah. With the exception of Woody, obviously, and probably Grant Hall as well. I think they're probably pretty much of a muchness in terms of pace, but everywhere else we're blessed with that. So it's going to be a different proposition, I think, to Preston. I suspect, like Ben's just said there, I think their play will probably revolve around Chair and Will if he plays. I think everything will come through them. So there's an argument to say that Ollie Rathbone may well start to give them a bit of a kick in midfield early doors. My recollection of watching Chair, and I've only seen him a couple of times, is he's not one for being involved in any sort of physicality, is he? He's if I'm right, if I
think you're right. Yeah,
I think he prefers to find himself rolling about on the floor, clutching his ankle rather than getting.
He likes to sit down, doesn't he? So
there you go. Hey, bum. Well done, mate. Very good. So we'll see, but I can't see there being many changes. I think it's just going to be the odd one, don't you?
Yeah. There's a question on Hard. Another question is Harding for me because he was knackered. He was knackered at the end of the Reading game, and that was not the most exerting. All of it was very hot, I suppose, weren't it? But we haven't got anybody else. What are you going to do? Put Chio back there, but then you're taking away Chio from where he's been doing really, really well. You could put Peltier there, but then Peltier's a right back, not a wing back. I mean, he's a proper right back, whereas Wes can attack. Until this new guy comes in, I don't think we've got an option.
I think Peltier could be the option if we decide to go a little bit more defensive in the first half and have Peltier and then Ferguson. And like you say, if Chio's knackered, not Chio, if Harding's knackered, towards the end of games, and we've played Tuesday, and he did look fairly tired in that game before getting subbed off. We could bring him on later, and then that's when you push Chio further forwards again. Because if you have Peltier sitting slightly deeper on the right hand side, your service is more or less going to come from Ferguson on the left. So Chio will have to drop in slightly anyway. So then if you were to swap Peltier and Harding later on, then you could push Chio further forward. Or even make a double sub and take Peltier and Chio off, and then bring on Harding and potentially even Tom Eaves as well. Potentially.
Yeah, Paul One says that Tom Eaves he was ready for the squad. He could have been in the squad on Tuesday. Is he ready to play games, minutes? Is sort of the question that Paul One's talked about. He's thinking of. Whenever you've got Georgie Kelly, there's no need to rush him back. You know, if we didn't have Georgie Kelly, we'd all be saying, get Tommy's back in there. We need that, and not somebody else. Whenever you've got Georgie Kelly, just wait till he's ready. And when Tommy's is ready, he'll be ready. I think the game against Morecambe next week is coming at a really good time for somebody like Tommy Eaves, for this kid that's potentially coming from Arsenal. That's going to be a really good game for those guys to get some minutes under the belt, I think. It's going to be interesting. We could stay unbeaten. We could lose 3-0. We could win 1-0. We just don't know. That's how the future works, I suppose. Danny, let's go for some score predictions. Me and you have not got any right yet this season. Mick's got 2 already. Mick's got Victor's clean sheet record of 2 out of 3. So, what do you think, Danny?
I mean, have we got? We haven't even got the result right. We've not got scoreline right. Have we got the result right yet?
Oh, come on, you're clutching at straws now, Danny.
Yeah, Danny, you said we both said we beat Reading.
Right.
And we both said we beat Port Vale. And I said we draw against Swansea. So I've got all 3 results right. It's good, not result, but you know what I mean.
Apart from the Preston one where we were all off it a little bit.
I went 2-2 for that one.
Oh, you still got the quote unquote
still got a draw.
Yeah. Still picking up points on Super 6. I'm just in the mud. QPR's going to be a hard one to predict. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think
1-1.
I'll go for a 1-1.
Yeah, I agree. This is tough because I just don't know what to expect from QPR. I think it being at their place suits us weirdly. I think if it's away from home, the pressure's off. They can maybe express themselves a little bit. Whenever you're at home, a team like QPR are expected to beat us, and the fans will feel that, and that feeds into the players. If we go 1-0 up inside 10 minutes, might become a difficult place for them to play. The players. Mick, what do you think?
I'm struggling a bit with this. Had Blackpool not got the result there on Tuesday, then I would have gone for a victory for us, a win for Rotherham. I think we might get a response from QPR losing to teams like Blackpool, and that they won't want to teams like Double. Will they? They won't want to lose to teams like Rotherham as well. So, having said that, I think we're so much stronger this season than anybody else expects. And I don't think they'll know what's hit them, quite frankly. I hope. So I'm going to do 2-1 Millers. I think we'll nick it.
Right.
But I'm being a bit optimistic there, I think.
You are a little bit. I'm going to go 2-1 QPR just because they lost to Blackpool. I think the Blackpool result will hurt us. Personally. Powermed UK says 1-0 to the Millers. So does Kim Hayward and Cal Briggs. Paul Brock thinks the same as Danny. He says 1-1. S6 Miller says 1-0. Thinks Washington will score. Washington used to play for QPR. Just remember.
There you go.
Harvey Kellix is 2-1. I think he played a lot for him. I think he played well over 100 times for him as well. I'll check that in a minute. Russ Vernon and Harvey Kellix says 2-1. Sean Green says 2-1. YouTube user says 2-1. And Powermed UK has booed my prediction. Yeah. I don't know what else you want to say about the QPR games. Any other talking points or people? With it being so late season, it is more difficult to preview those games, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. It is. We don't really know what to expect from them. We're getting a pretty good idea after 3 league games and a cup game. We're getting a pretty good idea what to expect from us. If we can combine the two, because we've been defensively very good in a few games, and then against Reading we were absolutely electric going forward. Combine the two, and we'll walk away with the game. Quite frankly, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Connor Washington made 98 appearances in all competitions for QPR.
So he's going to win.
Not many.
14 in all competitions.
So not many then.
So he's going to win.
13 in the league.
Yeah.
13 in the league
like
over
one
4
of the
seasons.
He seems like the type of person that wants to score against that type of team as well.
Yeah.
An average record. It's not 13 in 90, whatever. It's not a terrible record, but it's just not prolific, is it?
No.
That's something for striker. Last call. Any other topics, comments, queries that we want to quickly mention?
Not from me.
No, not from me.
Perfect. We will back, as we mentioned, we will be back after the game on a live on Twitter. So if you're not following us on Twitter, go on Twitter, IFC_pod. We'll be doing live Twitter space. It'll be 20 minutes, half an hour, much like it was again after the Preston game, where we just have a quick chat. If you want to get involved, the whole point of doing it is it's like you can join in. We had Ian Bradley join us, give us his views on the Preston game. Once, if you like Mick, you'll have to work out how to use it. It took 5 minutes to work that out.
I got it though, and I know why now, so I did it straight away. You can't do it.
To let everybody else know, so that if anybody, old people,
don't try and. You can listen to it on the computer. You can't speak. You can't do anything. You can't interact in any way. You have to do it on your phone.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
If you haven't watched Danny's vlog from the Preston game is up, and there is a pie review. The pie looked horrendous, Danny. Apparently it was decent. It looked terrible.
It looked terrific, didn't it? I opened the packet and it was like, they burnt me pie in its first away game of the season. This is unacceptable. But it was weird because it was burnt, but it was soft. Like, it only looked burnt, which was bizarre. But anyway, the more or less full review is on the vlog if you want to go and have a look. And the rating as well.
And the rating as well. We'll not spoil that.
I'm doing like a little league of everybody's pies. I'm saving the Rotherham pie for the last game of the season. Because hopefully then they've got it right.
Good idea. We should quickly briefly say, very, very briefly, Coventry have apparently sorted their pitch out, or will have sorted their pitch out by the end of August. Obviously, this affects us because we've still got a game to be rearranged. Let's wait and see. Our game is not going to get officially rearranged until we know that they can play on it. And like we mentioned before, there's only 3 available midweeks between now and the World Cup. One of those is the second week of September. It's not going to get rearranged for them. So my guess is it would be post World Cup, but that remains to be seen. We'll see if there are any further updates on that one. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen audially. Give us a 5-star rating where you can do as well. Danny's vlog will be out on the weekend after the QPR game as well. We'll be back on Sunday evening live on YouTube. The podcast will be out Monday morning to review QPR and look ahead to the Carabao Cup second round tie against Morecambe. Michael, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being with us.
You're very welcome, mate. Anytime. Well, most times.
Most times, yeah. Sometimes it'll be a car park in Wales, but anytime.
Yeah.
And Danny, always a pleasure to have you with us, mate.
Yep, always a pleasure to be here.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Cheers.
Ravel, vicious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it.